Hey everyone.
Hey everybody, how are you doing tonight? Welcome to AKA Crafting Talk.
We weren't as late as I thought we would be. I thought it'd still be a few minutes, but it's fine.
Okay, sorry that we
I
are
thought it'd still
running
be a
a
few minutes.
couple minutes late. I had some cats that I had to feed really quickly that I almost forgot about because my husband's been taking care of them while I have been sick. Um, we're waiting for our guest of honor to get here. Let's see. I don't know. Samantha saying hi, AJ, Angela, and Evelyn. I don't see where all these people are. So we're waiting for Kaylin to get here. She's having some technical difficulties. And we are waiting for our special guest of honor. So hopefully they will both be here soon. I don't know, Samantha. We are trying to find that out ourselves. So just give us a minute and we will get going here. We're waiting for Kaylin and Evelyn both. So while we are waiting, why doesn't everybody tell us what's on your hook, what's in your cup? I've sent a message. Here's Kay. Let me bring Kay up. We sent a message to Evelyn, and hopefully I hear something from her or she pops up here soon. And I need to change this around. There we go. That's good for now. Hi, Terry. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
Hi, Donna.
And Nana Crochet Ideas.
That's Terry from
Terry. Okay. Hey Terry.
Terry comes into the chats that we do, the Crochet with Me's on my group. So that's how we know her and her name. Because as everybody knows, I am terrible with names. So
am I.
Me too.
And I'm waiting to hear back from Pink Sheep. I don't know if maybe she tried to get on using YouTube and not the StreamYard link. So
Samantha is working on granny squares.
Oh, cool.
And Terry has water and a mosaic bag. Cool. I haven't tried mosaic yet. Haven't tried most stuff. But mosaic is one of the things that I think is very pretty, but I haven't tried.
She just saw what I left her, so hopefully she will be here in a minute. I think I will resend her the link for here just to make sure.
And I'm drinking Pib Extra. And I would be working on granny squares and a Afghan. I came up with the design or whatever.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We lost Kaylin. And Evelyn says she's sorry she's on her way, but Kaylin must have lost her connection. Go ahead. What about your I didn't mean to interrupt. Your granny squares that you were saying?
Yeah, I'm doing granny squares, and then the other thing that I'm working on is something I came up with. I call it the 2-color gradient Afghan.
Okay, yeah.
It's seafoam green and hello, welcome back.
Evelyn is on her way. She said that she was sorry. And she's on her way. So I'm sure she'll be here any minute. But go ahead, finish telling us about your Afghan.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's peach and seafoam green.
And it's beautiful.
Oh,
I've seen it.
you.
It's very beautiful.
I will be doing a video on my whips. Well, my 2 whips and a future idea.
And I'm still working on my tester crochet here. I did eke in a video really quick earlier today. That was, I think it just finished getting published. The first time I published it, there was something wrong, so I had to redo it. But starting my sample series that I'm doing, I opened the yarn finally.
Awesome.
So I got it Saturday, and you know I'm sick. If I get yarn from an indie dyer, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I can't wait to watch your video.
Opened it yet?
You know, I just saw it before we came on here, and I was like, "Oh my god, I get to see the yarn."
Nana, Terry wants to know what AKA stands for. Abby's the one who thought of it, so go ahead.
Oh, I just thought of it, and it was it's like also known as, but it also stands for our initials, which is Anjanette, Kaylin, and Amby.
Okay, Pink Sheep is here, so here I'm gonna add her on. There she is. Hi, Evelyn.
Hi guys.
I am so excited to have you here today with us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I've been feeling under the weather the last couple of days, and so things just kind of pile on, and you don't realize how much you have going on until you can't get it all done.
I completely understand, because I got sick too. I was just saying, I got in, I hurried up and did a video that I meant to do days ago. I'm doing a sample crochet, so I'm doing a series because a lot of people don't understand the difference between a testing crochet and a sample crochet. So I do a little series on it, and I got the yarn on Saturday. I'm like, I feel bad if I can't open up that bag to look at the yarn when I know it's going to be a surprise.
Yep. Yeah, totally understand.
Yeah. So, and I've got my little co-host who had to come up and sit here. So
yeah, mine is right. He's over here. He's asleep. He's a black lump over on the side. So, yep.
Yeah, I have a black one who may come up around in here at some point in time. So they both.
Yeah, and you guys even got fresh shower hair. That was how bad it was when I got out of the shower and checked my phone, and I'm like, oh goodness, okay, I'm gonna make this happen. We're good. We're good.
Mine's up for a reason.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's the first day I got my shower since I got sick. So, okay, now I'm like, what are we doing here? We're asking everybody what's on their hook and what they're drinking. So I've got my tea because I haven't been feeling good, and I still have my tester crochet on my hook. Hopefully I get it done because it's supposed to be done this week. That's what I'm behind on now. We answered Terry's question. Nana's crochet ideas. I don't know. Can you see the chat, Evelyn? I don't.
Let me see. Yes, I can see the comments. I have to open them up separately. Okay. But I can open them.
I didn't know if you had StreamYard, because if you have StreamYard, lots of times it'll show up on the side. So we've got with us so far, we have Samantha, who is excited because she was asking us, where is Pink Sheep? Where is she? And then we have Donna is here with us, and Terry, who is Nana's crochet ideas. And so far, it looks like that is it, but hopefully we have more coming on soon.
Yeah.
And we've got some questions for you.
Okay, and I'll tell you guys before we get started too, because I feel like that was kind of weird. I was like rubbing my nose, but if you ever get a runny nose, it gets kind of like raw and it hurts like around your nose. And I had this stuff that they stopped making that I would put on my nose that really helped. And I just realized that this stuff, I don't know if you guys have ever used it. It's called Boo Balm. It's by Bee Queen. collection, and they used to make crochet hooks. I think they still do every now and then, but they moved towards making like hand creams and things like that for crocheters. And
Okay.
I just realized because it's all natural and it's unscented, it's the perfect thing for me to use. Like, I mean, obviously for dry skin, but I was like, oh, I reached for my boo balm and put some on my nose. So if you've ever looked for just a good salve, for dry skin and stuff, this stuff is great. And they're in the fiber community. So that's always nice to be able to support.
I'll have to look into them. I actually work with a chemist who does her own natural stuff, and I get her stuff, but
oh, nice.
That.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I'm still discombobulated a little bit here.
Oh, no worries. Good.
The first question that I usually, even on my own channel and then here that I usually ask people is, how did you get started with your channel?
Oh, on YouTube.
Actually, your channel or your blog,
Yeah. So I think my first social media was probably Instagram for my business. And I have been blogging for quite some time, but it was more like personal blogging, so I did like, recipes and just more of those personal kind of blogs. And I didn't really start, I don't even remember when I started the Pink Sheep blog. It had to have been anywhere from 3 to 5 years ago, probably, when I started blogging for Pink Sheep. And that was back when I did shows. So I was trying to figure out, I would do stuff like, I wanted to do like how to care for your knitwear and, things that people who were like purchasing things from me might read. But I realized very quickly when I stopped selling at shows and stopped selling things, that I had made, that it was actually a lot easier to blog, because now I was speaking to my own people and the people that, I connected with really easily, because it was speaking more to crocheters. And so I've had the blog for quite some time, and I've had Instagram for quite some time. And those were all born out of just the need for the business, so finding another way to talk about things and share different things. But YouTube was a whole nother animal for me. Instagram felt very easy, I guess. I came in at a point where I love photography, and so it just made sense. Instagram totally made sense to me. Now that it's more video heavy, it's gotten a little bit harder for me to try to make that transition. But it was actually after it was right around the first Crochet Business Summit with Pam Grice last summer. And I had been joining in on, and actually this is a pretty funny story. So I got a message on Instagram from someone saying, hey, you need to get over on YouTube, because these two people are talking about you in like a good way. So you need to get over there. And it was Kim and Ginger of Affordably Crafty. And I don't know if someone had brought me up or what had happened, but they were like stalking me on Instagram, like going through all my stuff and, looking at all my stuff and talking about it. And it actually took me, I went to the wrong video. I thought that I was watching a live video, and I wasn't. I was watching a video that was like a year old, and I was like, they're not talking about me. I don't know what you're talking about. Finally found the live video, and they were like at the tail end. And so I jumped in and I started talking. And from there, they invited me to come on to the show. So I came on and did a little interview with them, and that was super fun. And they said that, what was it? I didn't have a YouTube channel at the time. And actually the YouTube channel that I did have, because I had like a personal YouTube account linked to my Gmail. And I used to be a gymnastics coach. And so there were all of these gymnastics videos saved that were like drills for the little girls that I was working with, and like videos that I had shot of them doing their drills to post for them to watch later. And I didn't want to have to open a new account. So I was like, I just need to get rid of all these videos and start over. And it was really Kim and Ginger who pushed me. Like, if we can do it, you can do it. You need to figure out a schedule and go live and just start sharing things. And so they got me super motivated. And so my YouTube channel, as it is now, is really only like a year old. So that's, it just goes to show you can do a lot if, like just taking it step by step.
Right.
But that's how that got started, all for the business, but very, slow, one piece at a time.
It's interesting because I actually saw that live that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw when you came on their channel as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I used to follow them a lot. I don't get to follow people anymore as much as I used to because having my own channel makes it harder.
Yeah, it does.
So, but yeah, I remember that. And that's right around the time that I actually started my channel, I think. Yeah, I think right after. I started last May. So but I remember seeing when you were on. And I thought, oh, that is so cool. And that's when I got interested in you and started following you myself.
Yeah, it's been great. And I mean, Kim and Ginger have been very, very supportive. And it's like you said, I don't have as much time to join in on some of the lives like I used to. But when I do, they're always super sweet when I jump in the comments. And, that's been really nice. And I think Ginger's actually going to come on one of my Pink Sheep and Friends lives. I do those on Instagram on Fridays, but she's going to join me probably in a week or two, I think, for one of those lives. So that should be fun to get to chat with her again.
Okay, well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So along with your channel and that, how did you get started using the chunkier yarns and things? Is that something that you've always used, was the bigger yarn, or?
Yes. So it's actually interesting that it was that way. It was that case. I have never been drawn to the smaller yarn. I think a lot of it really is not having a ton of patience for big projects. If I'm going to be crafty and have a hobby, I want it to be things that I can sit down and do in a very short amount of time. Like I used to love scrapbooking because I could get a couple pages in a scrapbook done in just one sitting, and you felt very accomplished. And, so that was really nice. And if I look back at some of the oldest photos that I do still have of some of the first pieces that I did, which the very first pieces would have been in high school. And so I have no recollection of the first things that I made. I learned to knit and crochet in high school in art class. So I'm sure it was a scarf. I'm sure it was like a 50-foot long scarf, like a lot of people start out with when they learn how to knit. But I am pretty sure it was homespun. I think that was so I started out with a bulky yarn. And then if I look back at when I started crocheting again, which wasn't until grad school-ish, I had started using chunky yarn, and I do have some photos of some of like the hats that I was making, knitting and crocheting, and all of it was super bulky. So it did start out, it started early, and like I said, a lot of it really is just a lack of patience. I want to be able to finish things quickly. And yeah, so that's
Cool. I should actually, sometime when I'm talking to my daughter, because she, when she was in grade school, she wanted to learn how to crochet, but she has no patience.
Yeah.
She can make a really good chain, and that's all she really ever learned because she never went past that. I should tell her, there are different yarn weights than what she was using, and maybe she would actually decide that she wants to pick it up again. But
yeah.
You never know.
It definitely helps for anyone interested. It's funny, I had someone comment, it's one of my favorite comments about my patterns. Someone called them palette cleansers. So like if you're the type of person who has these big crazy projects and you just need a break and you need some instant gratification, then my patterns are a good go-to because you can take a break and you can whip up a cardigan in like a day, 1 to 3 days. I think it takes me 6 hours to make a Luna cardigan.
Wow.
So it's really, and that's going live. So I did a live series crocheting one of my Lunas, and it took six 1-hour live episodes. So I was actually talking through it, so it'd probably take less time if I wasn't talking the whole time.
Wow. Let's say hi we had some more people enter. Hi to Chris. welcome in. And hello, Amber from Fostering Crochet by Amber. Welcome in, you guys. Hope everybody is doing good tonight. And I forgot to introduce you, Evelyn,
No worries.
to Amby and to Kaylin. So my co-host with me on the AKA Crafting is Kaylin from Kay's Crochet Haven and Amby from Amby Craft Reads. So I am sorry. This is our first time having somebody, you know, on here with us. We just started doing our collaboration. Like, this is our, I think this is the second time on my channel. So yeah, our fifth one.
Okay. That's exciting.
So yeah, it's been really fun and getting to meet new people because we get to meet people from everybody's, channels who come in to see all of us and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun so far. We've been trying to do things for all crafts, but right now we've been doing little things here and there, you know, taking things that people think are real little and talking about them for the hour. Like last time we did stitch markers, you know, talking about all the different kinds and shapes and, you know, different
call
things.
Come in. You said, what did you talk about? You said things that were
stitch
small.
Markers.
Stitch markers. Okay. Yeah.
Last time, like we tried to find the history and stuff on stitch markers and, you know, things like that. So trying to be a little bit different than, you know, everybody else.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to find a niche for sure. You know, especially when I think that's been really difficult for me with my lives is finding topics. And I don't mind not having a topic. I don't mind just coming on and talking about what's going on. You know, if I wait long enough and I don't have a topic, there's plenty to talk about because I'll have like new yarn or a new project or something I'm working on. But sometimes I can feel like I'm floundering, and it's usually me by myself on YouTube. And so if nobody's being super chatty, it's like, okay, I hope you guys aren't getting bored, but you guys aren't leaving. So I guess I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, I do co-host a lot because I feel like, you know, if I go on by myself, that's how I get. Because I used to have direct sales and I would do lives.
Yeah.
And when you're in direct sales and doing them, either you have a lot of people who are watching and want to know about what you're talking about, or it's dead.
Yeah.
So when you have it, when it's completely dead and you're trying to talk, it is just so hard. And then people are like, well, you do videos all the time. It's like, but that's different. You know, it's easy for me to get on and just talk on a video and just keep talking, you know. But when it comes to a live, that makes it just a little bit, you know.
Sometimes I feel like I'm even harder on myself when I'm not live though. Because I feel like when I'm live, I can laugh at myself in that moment. Like if I can't find my words or if I stumble. Whereas if I'm filming a video, I'm like, I need to start this over. I need to scrap that and redo it, you know? So it's almost like more pressure for it to be perfect when it's a recorded video.
I did that with my earlier one today, but I don't edit mine. First of all, I haven't really learned all the different editing techniques. I've learned a couple things a little here and there. But even that, I don't remember. Like I added a picture once and now I'm like, okay, how did I do that? You know?
I don't even think I figured out how to add pictures. So good.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
You know, but it's just, I don't know. I just leave mine as it is and just say, you know, either they like it or they don't. And that's one of the things my feedback is people tend to like, you know, the more natural that way. So I'm like, that's fine.
That's good.
That's what I am. That's who I am. So that's who you're getting. So
yeah.
Let me see. I think I only had a couple more here. Your DIY challenge, because I have my hook.
Yes.
How long have you been doing the DIY challenge?
This is only our second year. Last year we had kind of gone back and forth because we had this idea of selling, and as really my husband had the idea of selling white hooks as DIY hooks, no challenge, just having them available for people. So if someone wanted to decorate their own hook, but we were like, how do we market it? You know, how do we, you know, do we need to include stuff for them to actually decorate the hook? Like there were all these questions of like how we would make that happen. And so it was just kind of this amorphous idea out there in between the two of us. And I feel like I remember it vividly when I was in the kitchen cooking one night last year. And I was like, oh my gosh, we should do a challenge. So kind of putting all of that together with this idea of giving people a reason to actually try it, you know, to have winners and to have, you know, not really give people direction. Like we really wanted it to be random, like do whatever you want to these hooks, and just get creative and have fun. And we did tell people like, you know, I used just Sharpies for mine. I wanted to think like, what are things that people might already have around the house that they could use where they're not having to go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff. And so I used Sharpies for mine. And I said like nail polish, like if you have nail polish you haven't used and you were going to throw away, like paint them with nail polish.
Well, I did think about it, but I forgot I have a bunch of nail polish I haven't used in a long time.
Yeah. And we did have one person last year who used nail polish for their hooks. So I was just trying to like think outside the box, and you know, people blew us away, not just with the interest, because I think last year I actually wrote it down. Let me grab it really quick. Okay, so last year we had 64 entries. Well, people who bought hooks. So 64 people bought hooks. And of those 64 people, we sold 85 hooks. So we don't limit people to buying just one. You know, if they want to brainstorm and play around, they can purchase more than one. So we sold 85 hooks last year. This year, and I don't have it written down, but I'm pretty sure we got to 75 people and 110 hooks sold.
Wow.
So we did have more people, and a lot of them were new. So we did have a few people who returned and who are going to enter again this year, but not everyone returned. And we had a lot of people last year. Like I think half of the people who bought hooks actually entered final hooks. So, you know, like getting all the way through to the end of the challenge and submitting a hook. But we actually gave away, so anyone last year who submitted a finished hook got a sticker sent to them. So this was last year's sticker.
A cool sticker.
And it's just DIY Hook Challenge 2021. And I like decorated all the little hooks. So there's one with like little fish on it and little sunshines, you know. So everyone who submitted one, I want to do that again this year. So anyone that actually submits a photo or video of their hook will get, you know, kind of a thank you medal sticker, you know, for joining in and getting to the finish line and completing it. But we were blown away by the entries, like the creativity that people had, the you know, things that they chose to do that we never would have even thought of. And I was like, this is why we did it. We just wanted people to get creative, take a break, you know, especially it's summertime. Sometimes it's difficult to crochet in the summer, you know, especially if you're like market prepping. And so you're making like winter hats in the middle of 90, 100 degree heat, you know, so giving people a reason to take a break and do something different or get their kids involved. We had a lot of people last year. I think at least 3 or 4 kids submitted their finished hooks that they decorated with their parents. And that's very meaningful for us of wanting people to get their families involved. So it's just really fun. And that's why this year, you know, when we announced it again, we had no idea if people were going to have, if it was going to be the same amount of interest, you know, and we didn't even care. We were like, if we sell 10 hooks, it's fine. You know, if we have 10 people that want to enter, it's worth doing because, you know, we just enjoy it so much. But we had more than last year. So very exciting.
Well, if anybody wants to see what the hook looked like, although I have started a little bit on mine, it's a 19-inch crochet hook. You can get it sanded or unsanded. I got mine sanded because I plan on using my hook. So, which is nice because they offer, once it's done, you can send it back in the nice box that it was sent in. So I pay my own postage then, and then they will coat it with, is it resin that you coat it with?
Yep.
so that it makes it smooth so that you can use it, and then they will send it back.
Cool.
Yeah, I think last year we resin coated 3 or 4 hooks after they were finished that got sent back to us. So that was really fun. It's nerve-wracking because I was like, I don't want to screw up anybody's hook resin coating it. You know, we had a few that were really cool that they sent us back, and but my husband figured out he does an initial coat of it's some kind of acrylic spray that protects the paint. And, you know, if someone uses Sharpie or paint, it helps keep the resin from interacting and running, because I don't have mine up here, I don't think. But I did one with Sharpie and we went directly over the Sharpie, and I had too much Sharpie. Like I went really, really heavy, and we put resin directly on it without any kind of protective coat, and it just ran all together. And I was so sad, but that helped us learn. That's why we did mine first, so that we could figure out, you know, if that would be an issue and how to fix it. So,
well, that's good, because that's what's on mine is Sharpie.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's all I have. Welcome in, Sandy Wilkinson. I did want to ask you, I had just a couple more myself, and I see some people are asking questions in the chat, but how did you guys get started with your tools? And I mean, I was blown away when I went on your site and saw that you had more than hooks and that. So how did you get started with, you know, the hooks and the tools?
Yeah. So, it was kind of twofold. You know, my husband got a 3D printer last Christmas. He'd always wanted one, and we were just finally at a point where like, okay, let's just get one, you know, and he got kind of a hobby printer that's, he calls them, our old printers are like Honda Civics, and it's great if you know how to work on them and you want to work on them. We ended up upgrading to Prusa printers, which he said are more like the Ferrari, you know, where you don't have to work on them as much. You can actually just enjoy the fact that they're going to do their job, you know. And so got him a printer, and he immediately was like, I want to print you a crochet hook. I mean, like, what husband wouldn't want to, you know, it was immediate. Like, that was one of the first things. And so he started going on to Thingiverse and some of the websites that have free files that you can download. And the files were just, you know, it's like, I'm at a point now where I invest in high quality ergonomic hooks. So, you know, just a plain straight jumbo hook off of Thingiverse, I was like, it's cool, but I'm probably not going to use it because it's probably not going to be that great for my hand. But I was like, but maybe we could design one, you know, and it just continued moving in that direction. And we designed a couple of initial ones using some free software. So I had to learn how to use 3D modeling software, which was, if you ask my husband, not fun. I'm not very good at learning new things. I just get frustrated very quickly. Like, again, it goes back to chunky yarn. If I can't learn it in a night, then I get frustrated, you know, and you can't learn how to make 3D printed things in a night. So, but, you know, went through the process and came up with our design that we have currently. And I started with a 16 millimeter because that was the size that I used most of the time. I mean, I used it for a lot of my scarves. I used it for my newest cardigans that I had released. And so kind of that 15, 16 range. And that's really a range where you can't find very many options. You know, you can get the big blue hook from Walmart. Every now and then you might find a cool one at, you know, Hobby Lobby or Joann's, but it's usually like a limited edition funky hook, and then it's gone. That was one of my favorites I found at Hobby Lobby one year, and I used it more than any of the others, but it was also kind of heavy. And that's the other.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
I think, but they don't have it anymore. I think I found it on Annie's, and it was a Susan Bates plastic one. It almost looks like yours, but it doesn't have the bottom, and it's plastic. Yeah,
it's probably the one. I include them in my Learn to Crochet kits. Here we go. So I sell Learn to Crochet kits in my Etsy shop, and that's the one.
That looks a lot like it.
Yeah. So super simple. This is probably the best one that I found But these tend to hurt my hands. The straight ones for the 15 and 16, they don't have any of that kind of ergonomicness to them. So I can't use them that long. And I'll show you, in case nobody has seen them, where's the one I'm using right now? Here it is. So these are both 16 millimeters. And let's do them this way. Oop, there we go. So that is the difference. So they're a little bit shorter. I'm trying to line it up in the video. But you can see there's just enough of that ergonomic handle for me to make a huge, huge difference. And I've heard from people that so the whole reason that there's a base here is because they print standing up on the 3D printer. So they print from the bottom up. And so that's what this is for, to keep them up straight on the bed. But I've heard people who say it almost like cradles their hand. So I was like, happy accident. This is perfect. And then, they can stand up by themselves if you really want to, you can set it up on the table. But
I like that because when I put it down,
it rolls off.
I can put it on the table and I don't lose it because it hasn't rolled off somewhere, gotten down in the couch, or something. So I really liked the fact that you had it so it could, I mean, I kind of knew why it was that way because I saw you printing them and how, and I have a friend with a 3D printer that my his wife had shown me some video of when he was making something. So I knew how
it's
the concept a little bit, but
yeah, and it's definitely a process. When these come off the bed, they are not crochet worthy. We sand them. So we sand them as smooth as we can. And then we have to wash them after we sand them. So each one is sanded and washed. And you can't use power tools to sand them because it gets too hot. So you don't want to melt that filament or melt that plastic. So we hand sand them, and then we coat them with resin. And it used to be that's when we sold them. So when we first started out, we just did one coat of resin and sent them on their merry way. But we figured that we could make them even smoother. And so now, after the first coat of resin, we sand them again, wash them again, and coat them again. So it's, a nice long process to get them to where they are now, to being really, really as glassy smooth as we can get them. And, the other thing for me with the crochet hooks was, if you're looking at hooks in the smaller size range, it's twofold. The first thing is that there's so many options and in between sizes. So if you're making a garment or you're making something and you just can't match gauge, you can go up or down a half hook size or one hook size to, get your tension to where it needs to be. But if you're working with a 16 millimeter hook, you're going to have to go up to either a 19 or a 20 or down to a 12 because
they don't have any
not exactly. So we do 10, 11, 12. We don't do a 13 because my husband says it's unlucky, but we've thought about doing a 12.99.
I heard that in one of your reels. I was like, okay. He said there's no 13th floor. I was like, okay.
No 13th floor. Exactly. And we do 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then 25. And we have a 35 now and have some 35s in the shop. So those are a little pushing it for me, but you never know. It was actually a custom order that made me design the 35 millimeter hook. But we haven't sold any since. I was like, but if someone has big old chunky arm knitting yarn and doesn't want to arm knit, they might want one. So we have them.
I know. I am so excited. I have somebody who's sending me, like, she's making rustic yarn, like out of denim and sheets and different things. And she wants me to make her wall hangings and things. And I was thinking, I have some hooks, but I may not have the right size. So I'm like, now I know where to go. If I don't have the right size. And actually this one may be perfect for some of the stuff that she wants.
Yeah. So. And having them be ergonomic was another piece because the ones that I could find usually are not ergonomic. The other problem was that, for instance, Furls has, they have a 13 millimeter in their candy shop collection, which is, I think that's like $60 something hooks. And then they have their Alpha series, which are even more expensive, and those have a 15. And I bought both of them because I was like, I'm at that point, I'm going to invest if it'll help, you know, because these are the sizes I use the most. And I've used Furl's Odyssey and Streamline in the past and do love them. I use my 5.5 Odyssey for all of my crop tops because we don't make hooks that small. And I do like their Streamline. I have a 10 millimeter in their Streamline that I used to use before we started printing our own. But they're always out of stock. Always. The 13, the 15, they used to have a jumbo. And actually, this was funny. Today, I got an email from Furl saying that they brought their big purple 20 millimeter.
Like for today, we're not supposed to tell anybody yet.
I thought they said that I thought it was an email to everyone.
Are you an affiliate?
Maybe
not. I got 2 different emails today. I got an affiliate one.
Oh, so the one that I got, I thought was saying that they had already brought it back. So if they did, it was already sold out again.
I believe it's coming tomorrow.
So we'll see. But when they had those, they also had wooden hooks. They had wooden 20 and 19s, and they were all out of stock too. So my goal was like, okay, if I'm going to make big jumbo hooks, then I want all of the sizes to always be in stock. I want people to know that if they need a certain size, they can go and it's going to be there and they can buy it and have it shipped out that day. It's not a custom order. Everything in our shop is ready to ship. And then the last thing was color. So for me, using all of the colorful yarns and, you know, I wanted to be able to have pretty hooks. And if you're buying small hooks, there's so many options. There's people that make the cool clay handles. There's people that make the awesome wood turned hooks, but most of them don't go up to those jumbo sizes. And if they do, it's going to be a super custom order. And they may not even want to do it because I've heard that they're difficult. I actually talked to Knit Brooks, who makes the wood hooks. I don't know if you guys follow her on Instagram, but she makes hooks out of like driftwood and beautiful, beautiful hooks. And she said that the larger hook orders are so hard on her hands to try to make those hooks. So she said that she had to make like a 15 or a 16 millimeter not too long ago. And it was difficult, you know, so you're probably going to pay more if you're getting those. So yeah, that was, and then the tools just came with that, you know, once we figured out, you know, the process for making the crochet hooks, we were like, what else could we make, you know, that might be helpful and solve problems for people? So we've got the bobbins, the wraps per inch tools, the lucette forks, and of course stitch markers. And we do have one tool that I haven't released yet. We made a simple Pom-Pom maker. So it's like the ones with the kind of a football field fork at the top and you wrap around and tie. I've made it and it works. I just haven't made enough to do like a big release, and I want to do a video with it once I release it, you know, so that people can see how to use it. And so, you know, we'll figure that out one day.
Yeah, they are sold out, and that was it
today?
Yeah.
So, and I felt bad because I am an affiliate and I was like, oh, but it looked like a marketing email. It looked like a, hey, these are back in
it was
stock.
marketing. There's something else that's starting tomorrow.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, I was like, are you serious? So they just came back out and they're already sold out again?
Yeah, they confused me with sending both of those emails today. I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see the color that they showed the really big one in.
Yeah, it says sold out.
But yeah, they only have one hook left of all the candies.
Yeah.
One.
So that's why I was like, I want to, and you know, some of that is, you know, our price point. So our hooks are expensive. They're not cheap hooks, but if our hooks were any cheaper, we would sell out. And that was the problem. So I had to find that sweet spot because we can only make so many. Like even now we're still in recovery mode from the holidays. And I think right now we have 2 or 3 sizes of hooks that only have one in stock. And so, you know, we're still trying to play catch up to make enough to fill the shop back up for next holiday season.
Okay. just one second. I want to, Samantha,
Yeah.
yes, I see your questions. I said I had a couple more and then I would go to what you guys have. Plus, I'm sure Kay and Ambi have some questions as well. So we're trying to. She's already answered. You asked what her favorite hook size was, and I believe that would be the 15 or the 16, did
Oh,
you
yeah.
say?
Definitely. Yeah.
So she's already answered that one, but we are not ignoring you. I promise you.
And she
And I'm
also, I think, how long have you been crocheting for? She said that she started in high school.
Yes. So,
yeah.
yeah, and yeah, we see you. Somebody else is asking, does vegan yarn come in sizes that can be used with your hooks?
Yes. And
That would
actually,
be cotton yarn in that. So yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
And is acrylic vegan, or
Yes,
is that
acrylic is vegan. My daughter's
so?
vegan too, so I'm
I
up.
can show you my two favorites. I'll actually show them to you because I've got them in stock. Let's see. I gotta go look in the stash. There it is.
Yeah, acrylic, cotton, bamboo, anything that's not animal fiber.
Oh gosh. Oh, I just knocked my phone. Okay, there we go. All right, so Hometown USA by Lion Brand is a size 6, 100% acrylic. This was my go-to when I was teaching crochet classes because I would teach using the 15 millimeter hook. This was easy to find. I can get it at Walmart. So it's just an easy access one. So if that's something you're looking for, most places carry this. Another good one that I just discovered that I'm working with right now. This is it says it's a 7, but I would think it's like a big 6. But it's this Premier Home
I've
Cotton
heard
XL.
that's nice.
I really like it. I'm making a wearable with it. I made one of my Angelica jackets with it. So big fan. I bought some last year and I just started using it this year. And then this was another good one. This and ribbon yarn. So this is Hobie's Bungee Mini.
Oh, that looks nice.
It's like giant shoestrings, but it is a 6. It's definitely a size 6. So it's very squishy.
Something like that I got from Hobby Lobby's clearance last year.
Now this is cotton and polyester. So I don't know about polyester.
So that's a if it's man-made, then it's vegan.
Okay. Much. And then Hobie's ribbon yarn. They have a 100% cotton ribbon yarn that's a size 5, and I like to double that up. So lots and lots of options. It's just looking at your fiber content. I usually search on websites for, I will filter the search by bulky and super bulky. And a lot of people combine yarn for my pattern. So they'll hold, 2, 3, 4 strands of yarn together of lighter weight so that they can match my gauge. And that gives you a world of options at that point once you start combining yarn.
I made Ginger's scrap basket. Or scrap, I think she called it a bag. I call it a basket, but I made that with the 6 yarns held together.
Yeah.
That was hard but fun.
Yeah.
Keeping them from not tangling up.
Yeah.
So, I was going to ask you how you got started with, I did ask you how you got started with hooks and tools. I'm going to say, but you already answered it, but I asked it. That's why. Sorry. And when it comes to the shirts and the stickers and that on your page, do you design all those yourself?
Yes. So I use Procreate on an iPad. My husband actually bought the iPad for his job and asked if there was anything that I would use it for. And I was like, well, I've heard that there's this app called Procreate, and I've never used it. So we downloaded it, and that's when I started the drawing journey, which has been really great. I mean, it's been really fun. It's a great break for me if I start to kind of feel a little uninspired on the crocheting or the designing side. I can put that down and I can work on some of those new designs. And it's been fun. I mean, I have to really feel like drawing. And there have been a lot of times where I'll spend an entire night and stay up till 1 a.m. Trying to finish a design and then absolutely hate it and have to start over again in a couple of weeks. So
That
to
sounds
give
like
myself
me
a
with
break.
graphics.
Yes, yeah, it takes a
Yeah.
while, but the love that people have shown for the designs and being able to see them on enamel pins and those were big. I had to wait. Enamel pins are expensive to invest in, so getting
Right.
to a point where I knew that they were popular enough designs for me to invest in enamel pins and seeing that grow has been really, really cool. So
I love most of your design. Actually, I think
thanks.
all of them that
Yeah.
you have out. So, but and I've looked at the prices of stickers and things with your
Mhm.
logos because I'm like one of these days I may want to have a shop and I
Yeah.
actually put some stickers, which is how I'm probably going to decorate my hook so that it has my
Yeah.
logo and that on it. So and then I got all these other like
That's cool.
butterflies and
Yeah.
that I can
That's
pick
a good
from.
idea. I did a collage on my hook last year, so I feel like stickers would be a really cool way to add to it for sure.
Okay, cool. So, but I'm done with my question. Well, I guess I did have one more that came about when I was looking because I was trying to find like my favorite hook and my favorite, design and all of that so I could show, but we may not even get into that tonight. But I saw and when we were talking about this in our meeting the other night, we saw that you have a group.
Hmm.
And then when I was reading about the hook that I really like that I saw, it says that anybody who has purchased is actually part of this group. And I was going to ask you, how do you get into it then? Because I've purchased a hook from you and I don't know how to. It asks for a passcode. So do I email you
Yes.
the passcode or?
So now if the only hook you purchased is a DIY, what we usually do is at the end of the challenge, and actually we weren't going to announce it yet, but when we get to the end and you submit your photo after we choose the winner and everything, we usually send out a thank you email. And anyone who actually went all the way through the challenge and submitted their hook, we're going to let them join the hook club, even though that's the only hook that they've purchased. So usually, like, that's what we did last year. So at the end of the year, or at the end of the challenge, we went through and anyone who came in, we sent them an email. We actually gave them a special discount at the end of the challenge to our shop. And then they got the info for the hook club. Because our regular hooks are definitely quite a bit more expensive than the
Right.
DIY hooks.
Right, I get
but
that.
the people who are in the hook club already, their DIY hook did count towards their hook count, so they actually earn like achievement badges as you collect more of our hooks. I have these little achievement badge stickers that are really fun that go out at each milestone as they're collecting our hooks. So it's been a really fun way for me to connect on a little bit deeper of a level with people who have become collectors of our hooks. I mean, we have a lady who has over 50 of our hooks. I don't know if she's keeping them all or giving them as gifts or just has the collection. But yeah, she's bought a lot of hooks. So
Wow. I hear about people doing that with girls and stuff too. And I'm like, I'm disabled and on a budget. So when I get one, I have to save up for it. And I was actually saving up for something else when I heard your DIY was coming out. And I was like, okay, I took that money. I said, I got to do this challenge. I got to get the hook, and of course I bought the more expensive so that I can make it, similar to you. But I also got my favorite little tool so far that I've tried is
yes, the stitch
Stitch
markers.
I
Yes,
love
those
your
are our
stitch
favorite.
markers because, like I told the girls when we were doing stitch markers last time, usually when you get stitch markers like this, like the clover ones, they keep turning around and around. And for me, they go around on my project and they come off.
Yeah.
I have done 2 different things now and left this on to to check it, not even using it as my stitch marker, using something else that I knew wouldn't fall off, and these have not fallen off. So
Yay! And the cats are definitely the most popular. The cats have been our most popular seller. You know, we have a few other options now.
Yeah, we showed those last week. I showed the Christmas trees and all the different.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, I'm blown away. I'm in love with them, and you know, for the price point, they can't be beat.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's something that I need to do more of. We actually need to go back through all of the filament that we've just kind of got scraps left of and make some more stitch markers, because we're not low, but like I don't have a ton of color choices like we probably should, because we have plenty of filament to make them.
See, and you have some tools I've been wanting to get that I haven't been able to get other places, because they're either I wanted to show this for my favorites, but I do want to get to your guys' questions too. But you have the wrap tool where you can figure out what size your yarn is, and then you have the gauge tool, which
and I have two
that I want to get. But they're always so expensive. Like, if you find wooden ones, and I found one yesterday that wasn't so expensive, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get that." But gauge wise, it was only 1.5 inches by 4, and I was like, "That's not going to work, because you always need 4x4 to get."
So that's our 4x4 gauge square, and it has the notches for hook sizes. So if you have mystery hooks, obviously it's jumbo. So jumbo hook sizes, they go from 10 to 25 on the sides, and this is what the wraps per inch tool looks like. So this one is a double-sided, so it has our hooker tarot card design on one side, but the other side has the list of the actual wraps per inch things.
Okay.
So that's what those look like.
Okay. Well, I'm Ambi and Kay, whoever wants to go next, if you have your questions, and unless you want to go and get everybody else's first. However you guys want to do it. Well,
you can get everybody else's first.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go back up here and see. Samantha wants to know, what's your favorite crochet project?
I feel like it's always the newest thing that I've released. So every time I release a new design, it feels like, oh, that was my favorite. That was a big deal. But I just released my, it was actually yesterday, released my newest crop top design.
I saw that.
It was a really big deal, because I was very afraid to try and release a new crop top design, because I wanted it to be as truly size inclusive as it could be. And as you guys know, boobs are very difficult to size for, because there are so many combinations of boobs. And so I actually had 54 testers for this design over the course of, I think, 2 months testing this pattern. And so it was such a relief to finally, like, oh my gosh, it's finally live. So just very proud, and so thankful for all of the people that helped, wanted to come on and help and make it as good as it could be.
The pictures that you had in your email, you have the same pictures on your blog?
In my Etsy shop. So if you go to the pattern listing, everyone's photo is included in the Etsy pattern listing.
So if you guys want to see, I mean, she has people from the skinniest to as large as me, maybe even larger as far as boob-wise concerned, a lot larger, because I am one of the heavier people with very tiny average. But the gamut, it was so cool to see. I mean, because for somebody who's my size, you do not normally see garments like that made for us, and they were just standing there and wearing them, and I was like,
and confident. Wow. Everybody rocked it in their pictures.
Yes, they did.
Amazing.
They did. I was totally blown away when I opened that. I was like, oh. For a minute, I thought I was looking at a picture of Cinnamon Stitches, because, she's got her pictures in her bikinis and stuff. I thought, wait a minute, she doesn't have an email. How did I open? This was, Evelyn's. And I was like, nope, It's not her. It was somebody else who reminded me of her, but I was just like, oh, yes,
Yeah,
they were
it
all
was
confident.
great.
Looked great. Okay, let's see what's next. Oh, my favorite that I was going to show as pattern was, I think you just released it not too long ago, your overalls. I think those are so cute. Your short overalls. Those are
Yes.
so cute. I
And
personally wear them, but they are so cute.
I am working on the skirt version. This is what I'm using my Premier cotton for right now.
Ooh, I like that.
So it's going to be very similar, but people have asked, I asked if it would be too similar, if people just wanted to modify my existing pattern, but they said, no, you should go ahead and make the pattern. So that's what I'm working on.
Awesome. I want to show the pattern to my daughter and see if she might want a pair, because
It's a fun one.
T-shirt and jeans or leggings type person. So I'm thinking that it's something she might let me make her, because when it comes to garments, she's like, I have so many other things I can make her though. So she's a Pokemon fan, so I make her a ton Pokemon.
That's awesome.
Let me see what else is on here. She asked how long you've been crocheting for, but you already answered that. Samantha wants to know, have you tried mosaic crochet before?
No, and it's one of those patience things. I don't think I would have the patience for it. There are some amazing mosaic designers out there, and they can have that space.
Yeah,
leave it to
I'm
them.
working on one, and it's actually not as hard as it looks.
Yeah.
But it does take a lot of patience. Samantha says she needs to go back and watch your videos, and that's it.
Yeah.
We've covered all of them from in the room. So, Ambi and Kay, if you guys have any questions.
Well, the ones that I wrote down have been answered already, but I just want to know, do you still knit?
I haven't knit. I feel like I have this project that I swear in maybe 20 years it'll be finished. It is a 4-weight yarn. It's merino wool. It's beautiful, and it's hand-dyed yarn, and it's this really wide shawl that's supposed to like really wrap and be beautiful, and I don't even think I'm halfway done with it, but I pick the needles up and I'll do a row, and I'm like, oh my God, it took me 2 hours to do one row. I can't handle it. And then I put it back up again. And I used to knit farmhouse blankets. So I would do seed stitch. It was the only blankets that I knit, but I would use the huge in the round needles. And I would make, it was 2 strands of Woolies Thick and Quick, and I would do a seed stitch blanket. And I mean, I haven't made one now. It has to have probably been 5 years since the last one I made, but it was for my mother-in-law. So in the winter, she always brings it out and has it on display in the house. So I'm like, oh, what a pretty blanket. Oh, I made that. But it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
That sounds like the first, that sounds like the first Afghan I made. It took me years.
Yeah.
And when I was in college, if I needed some space away from my books, I would pick it up, do a row, and put it back down. So
yep.
My husband ended up getting it for his wedding gift, because I finally finished it right before we got married.
Nice.
But sorry about that, Kaylin. Go ahead.
It's okay. I was telling Ambi she can ask her questions.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know, what's your favorite thing to design?
In general, I think it's probably wearables. I mean, that's mostly what I've designed, and I think the reason is because wearables are so intimidating for beginners. I know they were for me. It took me, I mean, again, I learned in high school, and I didn't attempt to make my first cardigan until I think 2015. And it was a knit cardigan. It fit horribly. It was, I was never going to wear it. I did finish it. But the way that it fit me, I didn't feel confident in it. And so then it just kind of felt like it was a waste of time. And not worth the effort. And I had tried a few other patterns and just struggled through the patterns. And I felt like the way that the person who designed it was wearing it in their photos, it's like they had to style it in a certain way to make it look right. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna walk around like that, you know? And so I wanted to create something that was easy to wear and simple to make and fast to make, and anyone can make it. You can be a true beginner and start with my Luna cardigan and make one. Like, there's nothing to mess up, you know, and like limiting the amount of sewing that needs to be done, making sure the patterns are size inclusive so that anyone can feel confident making the garment and can feel confident wearing the garment. And so that's been very, very, you know, it's very fulfilling as a designer to see that. And, you know, every time I do a pattern test, seeing the way that people take the design and make it their own, you know, I don't limit the yarn that they can use. You know, every now and then I'll ask that maybe a few people use the same yarn as me so that I can see that it does work up the same way. But most of the time, sky's the limit. Combine yarn, like make it yours. And I feel like that opens the door to the creativity that I want to have happening, because I feel like a lot of people feel like when they purchase a pattern, or, you know, I used to, when I was following a pattern, that you can't change this. You need to use the same yarn. You need to do exactly the same way, or you're going to mess it up. And I want people to feel like they have true creative freedom. I have people who have turned my Luna cardigan into a long duster vest because it showed them how to, you know, the most simple basic elements of that design. They were able to then take that and turn it into something that was completely unique. And that's amazing, you know, to see that even years later, that people are able to take the basics. And that's why I keep most of my patterns very, very simple. I don't put color work into them usually. You know, that's why I don't do a lot of the mosaic or anything like that, because I want people to just go crazy, do whatever you want, color change whenever you want, you know. And yeah, that's it's been awesome.
Okay. So, with that being said, would you say that you would, if someone's never done like a garment, would you say your Luna cardigan is somewhere for somebody to start?
Yes, and the main reason is because the Luna is one of my simplest ones to make. I mean, they're all simple, but that was the first one that I made that I loved. That was my first full sleeve cardigan that I released as a pattern. But the other reason is because I have the YouTube playlist where I crochet one live with them. So there's a lot of support for people where they can follow along. And, you know, so yeah, that's usually where I send people, is the Luna first. And then from there, you know, they can branch out and try some of the other wearable patterns.
Right. Well, I've never done a wearable other than like a scarf or something. I've never done a cardigan or anything. So
yeah,
I might could start with that.
I hope you do. I would love to see it.
I am so excited to hear you say that, Ambi.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get her to try a garment for a while.
Well, and a lot of people, they will straight up ask me. So again, I go live. One of my Pink Sheep and friends coming up is with Knit Brooks, the hook maker that I was talking about earlier. And she was mentioning, you know, that she hadn't made a wearable. And I asked her if I sent her the Luna cardigan, would she try it? And then, you know, she could even have it ready for the live if she wanted to, you know. And she said, well, is it going to take me months? And I was like, no, it takes like 6 hours. I promise. You know, I think there's that intimidation factor of like, this is going to take me forever. And I don't even know if it's going to be worth all of the effort. Again, like what happened with my first garment that ended up not fitting very well. And so I actually had someone, this was super, super cool. A lady reached out to me and said that her daughter was 11 years old and wanted to learn how to crochet. They wanted to learn together. And one of their first projects after completing I have a Learn to Crochet playlist, and you can make a sampler hat at the end where I, you know, use all the stitches that I teach to make the hat. And their first project after that was the Luna. And they did that on Easter around that time. And since then, she just did a post today on Instagram that was panning over this. She had one of those movable racks, and they had things hanging, and there were like 6 or 7 sweaters that they had created using the Luna cardigan and the Weasley sweater, which was my first pullover sweater design, as the base. And they had crocheted them all together since Easter. Wow. These are true beginners, and one of them is 11 years old, and she crocheted her first sweater and had never crocheted.
Awesome.
So yeah. Cool.
I'm 52, 53 now. Somewhere between the two. My brain isn't connecting right now with it. 52. Yeah, I turned 52 this last year. And I did not crochet my first wearable until last year.
Yeah.
So it was always other things. I mean, I made a vest for my daughter once, but I didn't consider it a true wearable because it didn't have sleeves, and all I had to do was connect 2 things, you know, and it made the But other than that, I had never made one before, and now I'm loving it. Like, this is a tester top that I'm making, but I go for the more simple, you know, ones that don't have a lot of sewing and a lot of shaping and all of that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
So, you know, I've been looking, and I'm like, the thing that intimidates me with chunky yarn is not actually using it, but it's the price point.
Oh yeah. So and I think
how little you're getting, you know, for what you pay.
And I think that's why you know, I need to do a guide to my favorites, but I always bought things on sale. And some of the best ones where it's kind of the best bang for your buck is going to be the Woolies Thick and Quick, or Michael's version of it. So Michael's has a cozy wool, and a lot of times you can find the sales on Michael's and coupons for those 2 yarn, but those are always available. The Hometown USA, the acrylic, which is like $3 or something per skein. And then the blanket yarn has been a big one for people who really are looking for like the yardage. If you can find a sale on blanket yarn, it makes some really cool cardigans, you know. So that's been a good one for people if they're looking, you know, to get the best bang for your buck for the cost.
Cool. That's good to know. And I always have to remind myself too, though, when I'm looking at that skein of chunky yarn, you know, that because it is chunky, it takes less to make what you're making than, you know, if you're using worsted weight or, you know, smaller or whatever. So I always have to remind myself of that too.
Yeah. I think it only takes me, now I make the small size, but for a Luna, I think I need 500 yards or so. Like, I don't need very much at all. You know, so for me, I can go out and buy 5 skeins of Woolies Thick and Quick. And if I get them on sale, that's not bad, you know, for a handmade sweater. You know, but I'm a big sale person. You know, when I found these on clearance, this was that eco tie-dye that Michael's was carrying. So I bought, when I finally found it on sale, I bought 24 skeins. Wow. because I knew I was going to use it, because I always use chunky yarn. So once you kind of have the idea in your head, I always keep the yardage with me of like, this is how much yardage I'm going to need for my next project. Or I keep it on my phone. And that way, if I'm out at the yarn store and I see a sale, I can double check how much yardage I would need for that wearable. And I can buy however many I need.
Okay, well, that's good. And I was glad to hear that you like the Hobie tape yarn, because I've been wanting to get some. I just started my first project using the Rewind yarn from Lion Brand, and I love it. I've heard so many people say they don't like tape yarn, but I fell completely in love with it once I started.
The only reason that I have not used tape yarn is because I've heard that for certain things it won't hold up as well. So like bags or wearables, it may not hold up as well, whereas the ribbon yarn is 100% cotton, and I'm not sure what it's called, but the way that it's put together, as far as I can tell, it's going to hold up really well over time. And that's my newest one, the Sunshine Cardigan. I've got some pictures on my Instagram page, but that one is made using the Hobie's Ribbon XL. So it's their even chunkier ribbon yarn, but their regular ribbon yarn is what I used to get this bag. This was the little bucket backpack that I just released a couple of months ago, or maybe last month. But this is double-stranded ribbon yarn, and it's actually pretty soft. I mean, it's 100% cotton, so that was a really fun one to do. And Hobie, you get bulk discounts. So, like, if you wanted to try ribbon yarn, and if you buy more, you pay less per skein. So that's always helpful to look out for.
Yeah, the next time I have enough money to buy from them, I wanted to get some of the ribbon yarn. That's like on the top of my list.
And they do mystery bags of ribbon yarn too. I know a couple people were sharing that on Discord too. I have a feeling those are discounted and you get, just mystery colors.
Oh, that's cool to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually have some chunky yarn that I didn't know was going to be chunky because I got it from the tent sale. The big tent sale that comes out of California, not California, from Canada. And Kim had talked about it last year, and I was looking at it and I was like, okay, I'm going to get some of this yarn. But they were like, we don't know what this, I think it was Zelda yarn, I think is what it was called. Nobody knows what this is. So I ordered it because it was yellow. It's my favorite color. And it ended up being, chunkier yarn. So I'm like, okay, well, I can maybe make a backpack or, something out of that. I know it's not enough for a wearable for me, but I was like, cool, I got that I can work with. So yeah, it's really, to me, it always makes it really fun when they come out with new chunky yarn. I made it my goal this year to try more of the options so I could kind of give people feedback. Like, I had not tried regular processed t-shirt yarn, like not something I'd made myself, actually purchased. I had not used t-shirt yarn before. And so that was a big goal this year to design a few items around t-shirt yarn because that was a chunkier option. And then using my Premier. So finally designing something with the Premier Cotton XL because each year I want to try all of these new yarns that are out there and be able to, make wearables out of things that aren't usually used to make wearables. It's a challenge. Samantha's asking me what I'm working on right now. This is the tester top I've been working on, and I will be doing a video once I can show you guys what it is once it's released. So, I mean, I can show bits and pieces as I'm making it, but once it's released, I will do a video to show you what it is. But awesome. I'm taking in all this information that you're giving. So I appreciate it so much. That's one of the things, like I haven't gotten anything from her yet. Do you know, well, I'm sure you do because we're in Pam's summit. Deltra Perryman?
Maybe.
She was in the summit this year. It was her first time doing a presentation, but she did the one getting a fashion show because she does like bridal dresses and things. She did she's getting rid of some of her stash yarn that she doesn't use. And I happen to be one of the winners. And so she asked me, she said, well, what colors are you looking for? And I said, well, I really can't tell you colors because I'll take, whatever color. I said, I don't normally crochet with my favorite color, although I am because this is for me, because I don't normally make for myself. And I said, but I said, I can tell you what types of yarn I'm looking for. And like chunky yarn or ribbon yarn, even fingering weight. Cause I run the gamut of what I work with, but I'm like, I really want to do some chunky projects. I'm like, but I just don't have, any chunky yarn. And right now I promised my husband this year, I'm on a stash only, I'm using for my stash unless I get an order because I do orders, to make whatever people want. So then, they pay me for the yarn and I get whatever yarn, I need to make it with. So I told them, I said, I promise for a year, I will work from my stash, not use anything else. So, and then of course I have a friend now who's been sending me happy mail to add to my stash. So
Yeah.
he's like, I'm going to make a bonfire when those, and we're like, no, you're not. No, you're
Well,
not.
and I've definitely thought about either doing a giveaway or I may do both. I may do a giveaway if I have enough yarn to where it will work for enough sizes to do a giveaway for yarn for the Luna. But I need to see exactly how much yardage I have, because then it's like, well, I may only have enough yarn of that one color to go up to a 2 or 3X, you know, instead of all the way to the 4X/5X. So I need to check and see how much I have, but I'd love to do a giveaway for that because I think I have enough where it would be enough for any of the sizes. And then I've thought about doing some chunky grab bags. Now, it wouldn't be enough to make a wearable, but for people who just want to try chunky yarn, it might be kind of cool because it'd be enough to make a headband or some fingerless gloves or like these smaller projects.
I like your cat worry.
Yeah.
I like those too. Those are cute and they're small.
Yeah. So I've thought about doing that because I do have a lot of scrap yarn that I've caked up. So I could send people like surprise bags of caked yarn that's just different, you know, different colors and different types of chunky yarn. So I could do like a mystery chunky yarn grab bag in my shop just to kind of destash a little bit.
Have you made your own t-shirt yarn? Since you said you hadn't used any like commercial t-shirt, have you made your own?
It was a long time ago. I say a long time ago. We were still living in Atlanta. It was probably maybe 2015 or 16-ish. It may have been earlier than that, but I did go on a kick where I was trying to make my own t-shirt yarn just to kind of see what it was like. And my grandmother and my neighbors all sent me old t-shirts. And, you know, I think I made like a cowl with it. I don't know what happened to it, but
I was interested because I was a massage therapist
for
like 18 years. And when I had to stop because of my disability, I have all of these sheets. And then my daughter got me for Christmas last year. She got me the roller tool that you can cut with, the pad and everything, so I can make strips. And I want to try to make yarn out of, you know, my sheets because I'm not going to give them to people, you know. And stuff.
I thought about making like a rug out of an old sheet that had ripped in the middle. Instead of trying to toss it, and I still have it, so that still might happen one day.
We have to redo our bathroom, so I was thinking the rugs that end up in the bathroom once we redo it, I plan on cutting the sheets to make those. But then I thought, you know, I can make a wearable. I've got like 20 sets of sheets.
That's true.
So, and then I have flannel sheets, and I have, you know, some t-shirt, you know, material sheets, and then the regular ones. So
that would be a really interesting project to follow along with if you tried to make a wearable out of like yarn, t-shirt yarn, sheet yarn. It would be a cool process to follow along with. If you do it, you should YouTube it.
Well, I probably will. I'll more than likely will put it on my channel. And it's just right now thinking of taking all the sheets out and actually the time to sit and cut them.
Oh yeah, it'd be a lot.
Yeah, it's something that I do want to do. I mean, that's why I asked for the tools to do it. So, but anyway, anybody else have anything? Samantha wants to know what you're working on right now, Kaylin.
Nothing, because I keep ripping it out.
Oh, and she asked me what hook I'm using. I'm using Furls Odyssey, and it's a size F, so it's a smaller one.
Nice.
So I cannot get them very often either, and I had forgotten that before I became an affiliate that I had some of those the reward points that they had. My friend was like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting the new mint one because I have enough reward points to get free ones." She has like a collection of Odyssey hooks, and I'm like, I have like 3 now.
I have one.
And I bought one way back when I first, you know, learned. And then this one I got because I had enough reward points that I got like half off. So, and plus
it has been worth it. It has been worth it for me. The one that I have, It's the only one I use to make my crop tops, and I think I've made 4 or 5 more this summer for my personal collection because I wear them in the summer every day instead of a regular bra because they're just better when I get sweaty.
Right.
And that's all I use those for. So I'm like praying, please don't let this hook snap because we can't print them that small. There's the concern of them being just too small and they'll break, because they are
Right.
technically plastic in the end, a type of polymer plastic. And so, I need the metal hooks for the little bitty projects.
Right. Which is why I got an Odyssey, because there are other hooks. Most of the hooks I have from Furls are their resin hooks and they're wood. They're streamlined.
Yeah. And they can snap.
Yes. Yeah. And I've had them snap. I've actually had them replaced. And
I really wanted to try their aluminum ones, but they sold out so fast. I don't know if they're
the only sizes they have left are like ones that I wouldn't use.
Yeah. So. When I looked, they were all out because I was like, I'll get any size, and they were all sold out. So I'd be interested to see if they do it again.
I looked like a week ago and I thought they had a couple, but
I'll have to look.
They'll be gone now.
Because I'd give it a try just to see.
I heard somebody else say that they were sold out too, so they may be. Because I want one too. And my friend is like, I'm saving my money to get like all the sizes. I'm like, well, right now they don't have them.
Yeah.
And the way Furls works is when they're out, usually they're out. But if it's something that sells that good, sometimes they will, turn around.
I figured that would end up being a collection because I know that, the biggest gripe that people have with their Odysseys is the weight and the fact that they have the weak point where they connect with the handle. And so doing those aluminum poured hooks it fixed both of their problems, so I would think based on them selling out that they might turn that into one of their regular collections I'm
hoping so, because I really want to try one because now I do like the weight.
Me too.
I agree with cinnamon stitches because it's a balanced weight.
Yeah.
It like helps the hook help you crochet. So I go faster when I can use an Odyssey.
Yeah.
Depending on the yarn. Now there are some yarns that don't seem to like it as well. And then I go to my, the other ones. But then I've also found other hooks that I really, really love. My Prism hooks. I love my Prism hooks. And I know some people are Prim, not Prism. Prim.
Oh yeah, Prim. Yeah.
Some people don't like them because they squeak. And I'm like, I don't mind the squeak. Yeah. I can crochet quickly with them and I really enjoy them. And then I also like the original lighted hooks because those they're not as, I thought they would be flimsy when I got one. And they're not. They're actually really well made and I can go quickly with them too. So
yeah.
But and they're all ergonomic. And I've also found I like Susan Bates, her ergonomic ones too. And those are just simple ergonomic hooks, which I'm like, every time I feel this hook as I'm working on it, the DIY hook, I'm like, I'm going to like this because when I made that basket, I had to do like a round and then put the hook down for a while.
Yeah.
So when it came time to like untangle, it was like, okay, my hand needs a break anyway, because I was going to cramp right in the middle of my hand. So hello, Lita. How are you tonight? But yeah, and being a massage therapist, I'm like, I know the right places to massage, but still the ergonomic hooks. I've been using ergonomic anything I can use for years now. Whether it's a hook, whether it's, when you're on the computer, when I used to work in an actual building and every day was on the computer for like 6-7 hours a day. I had an ergonomic stand with the keyboard and all of that. I truly believe that ergonomics,
the only thing I see that I don't like about the Furls is they're round. I am not a knife holder. I'm a pencil holder. So when I crochet, my thumb actually sits in the ridges, that little flat piece. So that's the only downfall I see if I were to try a Furls or any other rounded hook.
Sorry, I keep cutting off. I'm sorry, Caitlin. I was surprised because a lot of people who have the pencil grip like you do say you can't use the Odyssey, you can't use a lot of the furls, but I have seen, and I don't know who it was recently, a video of somebody who has the same grip who uses them, and she's just like effortlessly crocheting. I don't know.
I've used a hook that had the ergonomic handle on it, and it was rounded, and I struggled with it because it kept twirling in my hand. I didn't have something to keep it steady.
That makes sense. I taught myself pencil grip on my Odyssey, but that means I learned it on the Odyssey, so that makes a big difference. Teaching yourself on that rounded ergonomic handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would keep snagging the yarn because the hook would twist on the rounded.
Yeah.
I had to have a dent or something so that I can.
Lita says, I'm pencil grip, but I use furls. You get used to it after a while.
Okay.
I don't know. They're just too expensive for me to just try.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I may actually have one that I was thinking of using as a prize, and maybe I'll send it to you instead.
You don't have to.
We'll see. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
But yeah, I've had one I've been holding on to for a while that I already had the same size, and I think it had broke and they had to replace it, and I ended up with one that I don't need because I have two of them now. Because sometimes they break in a way and you can still use them. So
yeah.
So then I have another one sit there, and it's like, okay, I'll use you when I absolutely can't use this one anymore. So, but I did get an Odyssey that when they put the hook in, it had buckled the metal. And so they just sent me a new one because I couldn't, it was catching on my yarn and catching on my finger. And I was afraid it wasn't cutting me, but if it had been just a little bit deeper, it would have cut because that's how it was feeling. So
I have another question though for Evelyn.
Sure.
Go ahead.
You said it takes a while to print the hook. How long does it take?
It takes anywhere from 3 to 5 hours to print a hook. It depends on the size. So our much larger hooks, like the 20 and up, can take longer. But then like the 10 millimeter tends to take the least amount of time. We did play around with printing an 8 and a 9 millimeter, and a few people own them. We might still continue making them, but it's one of those where we just wanted to make sure that they were strong enough. And so the inside of a hook has like a lattice structure when it prints. It's not hollow or anything, but it's also not solid. The 8 and 9 millimeters were solid. So it was almost like squeezing toothpaste in there, you know, like to make them stronger. So they were heavier. Not quite as heavy as an Odyssey, but right around that size, that weight. And so those took longer than our 10 millimeters to print because the infill was at 100% instead of having like a structure on the inside. So that was interesting.
Okay.
Lita says, I love my 8 millimeter Cosmos hook. I use it a lot.
Yep. So she got one of the 8 millimeters. We made more, the Cosmos release, we had quite a few 8 and 9s. That was our first release, including them. But they were difficult. They're very difficult to sand because they're so little for us, you know, and to make it where the hook neck is still deep enough to catch your yarn, but isn't so deep that then that it's going to be at a risk for breaking because it's too skinny. So I think we hit the nail on the head. So far, we haven't had anyone break one. So it'll be interesting to see if we, like I said, we're still at the point where we're trying to get our inventory back up for each of our regular sizes. And I think maybe in the future, we'll add 8s and 9s to the regular inventory.
That would be cool.
But yeah, it'll be a process like it always is. I mean, we would love to make handles. We've had a lot of people who have asked if we've ever considered making the 3D printed so that, this part would be the same, but then we would have the inserted Susan Bates or whatever those smaller hook sizes are, because then you'd still get the benefit of our handles. And we'd love to do that. It's just finding the time to sit down and design the handles and make sure that the measurements are right so the hook will actually stay in there. How do we get the hook to stay in there? Do we use glue? What do we use? How do we resin coat the handles once the hook's in there? So there's all the questions, and then having the time to do the trial and error of printing them and seeing if it will work, you know. So it's just a process, all of it. It's lots of new product ideas and then figuring out how to get them to the point where we can print them and have the print bedtime.
Lita says, I would love to get a 9mm, and I would love to get an 8 and a 9 too, because I use those quite a bit, because I do combine my yarns together to get the bigger sizes quite a bit, and I use them for different things.
Yeah, it's not out of the picture. My husband will say that it is. He's like, I'm not making any more of these, but I'm like, we will. It's just, we have to get back to where we, like I said, he gets frustrated because we'll do a release, like our last release was color change. So it's their heat reactive.
Yes, I want to get one. That was my favorite hook that I picked out.
And we allow the Hook Club early access. So I send them an email ahead of time. And usually they'll go in and buy a few. I'll have a few people who are waiting for that color. And we released 17 hooks. So it was a mini release. We called it a mini. Anytime we only do a couple of each size, like one of each size, and then maybe a few that we were low on, we'll print a few extra. But we released 17 hooks. And I think when the Hook Club was done, we had 4 hooks left. So I couldn't even really do a public release because I'm like, oh, we released these hooks. You've got 4 options, you know, which hasn't happened for a while, but that they were really excited about that combination. So we'll probably revisit it. That was our first time, or our second time revisiting an old filament. But when the very, very first release that we did, we called them the Dirty Dozen. There were 12 hooks, and it was 3 different colors. So we had 4 purple, 4 red, and 4 green. And the purples were actually color change, but we didn't say anything because when I would try to use them, they didn't change as quickly. And actually, we think that this new filament changes more quickly. But it was like a happy surprise when people got it, but we never actually did a release with that filament. So we revisited that for this one. So it may be one that we have to bring back again. But usually it's unique. Usually it's once we release it, we move on to a new color.
Well, the hook that you showed earlier to show sizes and stuff, isn't that a new one that's coming out? I think
so this was
a reel.
This was our mermaid release.
Okay.
So it was a pink to blue. This is unicorn. This was unicorn. The mermaid was purple and green, or purple and blue. But we released the 2 together. We are considering bringing this back, though. This was a really fun one, and they're all gone. So these have been sold out for quite a while. So we've thought about bringing them back.
Okay, yeah, because I was looking for it on your site and I didn't see it. But I thought I saw a reel when you were talking about the inside and the new hooks, and that he actually previewed one that's coming out.
Oh, maybe.
So, because he was working on it and you were like, oh, we didn't mean to show that.
Yeah, usually if you follow him, so he's on Instagram at willprint4credits. And he tends to do sneak peeks like before I say anything, but he'll show more of the stuff with the 3D printers, you know, so if you're interested in that side of things, he shares a lot more of that than I do.
It was one that you did for the DIY, and you were showing the printers going, and you were talking about the sanding and that, but he was working on one of the...
It may have been the color change.
Like, oops.
It may have been the color change, because that would have been around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lita says, yes, I would love those mermaid unicorn ones. I would too. I would love to get one.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of late on the bandwagon, and I haven't had much money. So when I don't have much money, I don't go looking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
and we would love to get to a point where we can do more sales. It's really the inventory. So if we can ever get caught up, like we have a few sizes right now that have anywhere from 5 to 8 options for that size. And if we could get to that point, then we could run a sale. But, you know, if we run a sale now, we run the risk of being out of multiple sizes.
Right. I get it.
Fingers crossed.
And I understand, you know, how you set your price point and all that too. I mean, in ergonomic hooks, they're worth the money. So, and on that line, do you guys have like a return policy or anything like that? If somebody's hook happens to break, or has nobody's ever broke?
We have had, you know, knock on wood, I think we've had 3 or 4 hooks break, the majority of them in transit. So usually the box gets crushed and it'll snap right around in here where the neck and the ergonomic hook piece come together. One person dropped theirs on concrete or just on a floor and it broke. We did replace that one. It's really case by case, you know, if I say they're not meant for amigurumi, they're not meant for super tight stitches, because just like a wooden hook, if you bought a hand-turned wooden hook, you're not going to use it for something that's going to really torque the hook. You're going to want to use something that's like a metal. But I had one person who she was using it for like a purse or something that was really tight knit. And she sent me a message and said, I broke the hook. And she said, as soon as it snapped, I knew I shouldn't have been using it for this. And she was like, but I had to go get another one. She went and just bought another hook. And usually I'll, you know, if I can offer a discount if something happens, if I can't just replace it outright. But if it's our fault, I mean, if it breaks in transit or I had someone, this was like a freak accident. So this girl she bought an 18 millimeter hook and had never used it. It just kind of sat in her collection until she had a project for it. And as soon as she started using it for her new project, it just snapped. And this is an 18 millimeter hook. So like there is no reason that hook should have snapped. So, you know, those are the kind of situations where it's like we can replace them. You know, it's case by case. You know, we want to make it right if it's something that was defected with what we have. And we don't allow returns, but we'll allow an exchange if there's a problem, or again, if something breaks and it's, you know, our fault, if it's defective with the filament, then we can replace it. So
okay, awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's all things that people want to know, and you don't even
of course
know until you know. Because I get asked all the time, you know, about furls, return policy and stuff. So I try to find about all of the ones that I like, you know, and that I purchase, so that if somebody asks, I can tell them.
Of course.
Well, we have been on here for quite a while. Yeah. So, and I know poor Kaylin's sitting outside and she's been fighting the mosquitoes. I want to thank you so much for coming on here with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great. Anytime. I mean,
so much fun.
And I try to, you know, I try to go live with people if they want me to join in. I usually don't go live at night. Like I'm going to have to go make some dinner. I haven't eaten anything yet, but
I didn't either, actually.
But definitely, you know, reach out if you want to do it again. I'm here, and yeah, it was really fun. I appreciate it. I appreciate you asking.
Well, I'm glad that I did. You know, it's kind of at first I'm like, should I ask? Should I not ask? But I know when I'm the one who talked to. Of course, it wasn't AJ's personal touch. It was my personal name. When after you did the summit, I was in the live afterwards, and I asked you if you would ever go live with anybody. So, and plus, I'd seen you on Ginger's, but I had never seen you really go live with anybody else. You know, after that. So
yeah. And people just need to ask. I mean, if anyone, I ask people to come on my lives on Instagram all the time. And, you know, there have been quite a few times where, you know, it's almost like we put people, I don't want to say put on a pedestal, because I'm not saying people put me on a pedestal, but I'm saying like, we see these accounts and we're like, they're probably not even going to answer me, you know, and there's quite a few people that I've reached out to that I felt that way about, of like, this person is not going to have time to answer my message and come on my live. You know, I'm sure they're way too busy. And I will tell you, 99% of the time, I am surprised, because they get right back to me, and, you know, they're more than happy to take the time to come on my show. And so I think it's just, you know, getting over that fear of asking people because,
Right.
you know, the worst thing they're going to do is just not answer your message, you know, and then it's like, well, I tried.
Okay, well, thank you. I cannot wait to figure out how I'm going to finish my hook and get it sent back
Me
to you
too.
guys.
I'm excited.
So, yes, I am excited too. My logo actually incorporates my mom, my grandma, my daughter, and myself. So
that's awesome.
as soon as I decided I was going to do the DIY hook, I was like, the best thing to do would be my logo, and then, you know, some of the elements, because all the elements put together represent, you know, generations of us women. So
that's awesome.
Sally, hello, welcome in. We're getting ready to wrap things up, so please go back and watch the replay. We discussed a lot tonight. So again, thank you so much, Evelyn, for being here. And I have to tell you, I love your name too. I have an Aunt Evelyn who just passed last year, who was very dear to all of us, and then we also have an Aunt Evie. So but both of their names are Evelyn.
It's a family name, so that's why you don't hear it as much. But I'm like the fifth one in the family in the line. So
and that's, I told my mom doesn't understand the whole having your own channel and going live and all of that. I was like, can't talk to you this night because I'm going live, Evelyn, you know, and I had used your name, and she was like, what do you mean? Not anybody we're related to, Mom, somebody else. So I actually, Chris, I linked below her Etsy, her blog, her YouTube. I think those are the three that I have linked below in the description. So if you go and look, they're already down there. Oh, and her Instagram.
And I'm Pink Sheep Design everywhere. It's made it really easy to search. And I have a Facebook group now too. So if anyone wants to join the Facebook group, you can just search in Facebook groups for Pink Sheep Design and it should pop up.
Okay. Yeah, and her blog is the real Pink Sheep Design. So that's the one that's different.
That's the different one. The website's different. Everything was taken.
So yeah, just look below. I have them all linked except for Facebook, basically. So
awesome. Thank you.
I think I've got her Etsy on there. If not, I will add it on. So I think that may be one that escaped me when I was doing it. So, but she is Pink Sheep Design there. But I know sometimes it's hard to find the shops through a search. So, but anyway, thank you again. Thank you everybody for joining us. And we will see you in 2 weeks on Ambi's channel. And we're not, I think, I can't remember what we said we were going to be discussing. So it'll be a surprise. So we have a couple things we were talking about. So we weren't quite 100% sure if we're going to do 2 things or just 1. So we will see you then. Have a great night, everybody. And thank you again. I'll let you go so you can eat. Again, like I said, I haven't eaten either. And I got to get cat food up off of the porch.
Got to nourish the bodies.
To stay healthy.
Yes.
So we have some outside cats that we've been feeding, and the raccoons are going to come if I don't get the food up. So
all right.
I will see you guys later. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.